Welcome to Stuck in My Mind podcast, the show where we dive into the mind of a regular guy on his road to self-discovery. You'll hear everyday people just like you share the latest topics, personal stories, and things they've learned along the way. And now, please welcome your host, Wise.
And welcome to another episode. I am your host, W-I-Z-E. I have a very special guest. She's a professional interior designer and a life design consultant coach. Welcome to the show, Shana Francesca. Hey, hello. Hold on a second. Let me add you in. There we go. Hi.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. It's just another normal day. Thank God.
So, all right. So let's just jump right into it.
Sure.
How did you become a life designer?
Okay. So to rewind just a bit from that, I have my BS in interior design. And so I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life being an interior designer. And it is still an aspect of what I do, but what I discovered along the way, I worked for other people as a designer for a very long time. And then I started my own company 6 years ago. And I from the very beginning was very intentional. I don't ever pay attention to trends. Trends have nothing to do with us as individual human beings and have everything to do with marketing, right? And a consumerist society. And so from the very beginning, I was really just truly interested in my clients and their story and what life they had already lived, and then the life that they would like to live. What is the story that they want their life to tell from here on forward? And knowing that we spend about 2/3 of our life inside of our home is a significant part of the life that the story our life tells. And the way that I see it, it becomes the stage from which we tell our story. It's the place where we gather with family, where we might raise children, or we might spend time with friends and celebrate big milestones, and the place where we let our hair down at night and, just get to be ourselves. It's a place of safety. And it is a direct reflection of our beliefs about ourselves if we allow it to be. And in recognizing all of that, I really was working with clients in a very specific way. And about 4 years ago, I started doing some group coaching around these concepts that I was using as an interior designer, but the group coaching had nothing to do with interior design. It was around designing your life, but I didn't call it that yet. I didn't have that language yet. And 2.5 years in, and having worked with 100 different people, I really started to recognize that I was starting to formulate all these things. I had worked with interior design clients in a new way, and they were taking on a life of their own. And then I hit the pause button, like a year into the pandemic shutdown. I was like, I need some mental space here. I need a break. And wanted to see how I was going to reiterate those concepts. And now they exist as workshops, very accessible workshops. But I also do public speaking and all these things. And I just realized that the design is a function of intention. And when we apply intention, first, before we can apply intention, we have to get clear on what we want, who we are and what we want, because so much of our society dictates who we can be, who we're allowed to be, who we should be. And all of those things are like curse words to me. I say lots of real curse words, but all of those might as well be curse words as far as I'm concerned. They are absolutely damning to our life and to our authenticity. And when we can find a way to get curious and figure out what we don't know, because what's so dangerous is that we don't know what we don't know. And so much of our life, we are told what to know. And because we think we know, we don't bother to ask. Because curiosity is a danger to the systems of oppression that govern our lives. And And so I realized that design applies to every aspect of our life, and it's not about the big decisions. Our lives are built on the hundreds of small decisions that we make every day. And when we get clear on who we are and the story we want our life to tell, we start to be able to apply intention to every aspect of our lives. The small decisions are what the foundation of our life is built on. Those little things like, whether or not we bring a bottle of water with us or we purchase a plastic bottle of water on the way. We just start to make these little decisions that have ripple effects into every aspect of our lives. Little decisions down to like, am I going to use a filter today when I post that photo or I post that video of myself? What message am I sending to myself if I use a filter? The message I'm sending to myself is I'm not enough. If I'm worrying about my home following trends, by, picking paint color I found on Pinterest instead of picking something that really excites my life and brings me joy, all these decisions don't feel like they matter because we're told that we shouldn't make them matter, that they should just align with a specific agenda. But when we recognize their power, we really can design a beautiful life.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right. I agree
That's
with
a
you.
long form answer, but I don't know how to answer it too short.
No, it was a wonderful answer. It worked. It works. It hit to the point. It got to the point, and you're absolutely right. We kind of limit ourselves by allowing society to tell us what we're capable of.
Yeah.
And that's all of us. That was me at first when I first started. I made excuses to why I shouldn't start my podcast. And it was because I had self-doubt about myself. I was like, oh, who would want to listen to me? Or why would anybody want to listen to what I'm talking about or doing? And I finally decided, like, you know what? By me not pressing record, I'm already failing. I'm already losing because I'm letting fear and other people tell me like, oh man, you're too old to be doing a podcast or whatever, or why would you want to like?
But that's their fear. That's their fear talking, not even yours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And finally, when I did decide to press record, it was like this big weight was lifted off of me, and it just became amazing.
Yeah. There's so much pain in our unrealized, in the not trying, right? In the not doing. There's so much pain there. Just what if, the place that I try to come from in my life now is what if I try and something beautiful happens? What if I don't put a clear definition as to like what success is as far as like a strict parameter, right? Like it's only succeeding if I'm making a crazy amount of money or all these things. What if succeeding is just if I'm having fun? What if succeeding is just I'm learning something? What if succeeding is that I'm just like connecting with other people in cool new ways? What if that's how we define success? What if we could create a world where we could define success that way? Right?
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm trying to do.
and I'm right there with you. That's why I do my podcast, is because not to become monetized, not to become wealthy, because I want to be able to share these stories with other people. Someone might need to hear this. Like, and that's the reason I started off as an audio podcast. Last year, I evolved to video as well.
Yeah.
And just within the last 2 months, I transitioned to live now.
Yeah.
So I do live shows. And the reason I went live is because of the reasons like this. Is because people get to interact and I get to actually see live and see what people have to say.
Yeah.
And they have some amazing people that stop by and show me love.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. And I love that fact. And look, like Anne, she was like,
I know, I'm reading Anne's comment right now. I'm like, thank you. I love this. Yes, Anne.
I have another comment for you. This is actually a friend of mine. She's amazing. She has her own podcast as well as the SJ Child Show. And her kids are autistic. Actually,
I'm autistic. I'm neurodivergent.
So look at this question. Yeah. She wants to know.
Yeah.
Do you also create sensory rooms?
Sarah, if you could find me on Facebook, we can definitely have a conversation about this. I haven't created sensory rooms. I haven't called them that, but I'm autistic, so I create sensory rooms. I create everything as a sensory room. So yeah, absolutely. Reach out to me because I'd love to talk to you about that and see if there's a way that I can help you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she's autistic. Actually,
Yeah.
everyone it's crazy because everyone in her family is autistic. There was
Mm.
her husband, her children, and she was just recent.
Neurodivergent people tend to flock together because our way of communicating is the same. We communicate through anecdote, through storytelling, typically. And neurotypical people can tell that we're neurodivergent within the first 15 seconds of communicating with us, although they don't know to label it neurodivergence. They know that our communication patterns are different. And so we as neurodivergent people find each other very quickly and easily and understand each other very, very well, because of that. Yeah. Yeah.
She said she'll love to connect and she
Yeah.
can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait
Yes.
either, Sarah. I'd love that.
Oh, Sarah, she's a beautiful person. I love her. She's become a good friend, and she has an amazing show. So maybe you can
Yeah,
go on her
I'll check
show.
it out. I would
With,
love that. Oh, that would be
def-
so great. I would love that.
definitely, you would definitely have a great time on her show. You would
Yeah,
definitely have
yeah,
a great
yeah,
time.
yeah.
She's amazing. So Sarah, if anything, y'all can link up, whatever, link up, and
Yeah.
I'll send her your email or something.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. All of my
Yeah.
contact information is very public, so you can share whatever you want.
But see, so this is why I decided to go live. Was this reason here
Yeah.
is to interact with people and have them speak to my guests, and if they have a question for one of my guests,
Yeah.
they feel free to put it in
Yeah.
the chat.
No, I love this. I didn't even know you went live because I've been doing podcasts for like a year now. And so
Yeah.
I'm kind of I've done 30 podcasts in the last 6 months. So I'm like it's so familiar to me now that it's not overwhelming at all. So I don't even ask. Like I don't even ask podcast hosts when they reach out anymore. I had no idea we were going live until like 5 minutes before I hopped on, and I was like, "Great, we're going live! Awesome!"
Yes.
Like nothing phases me anymore.
That was the evolution. That was the growth and evolution of my podcast. Is because like I said, I started audio, then I transitioned to video, which was just pre-recorded, and then I started doing a morning talk show with my friends, and a sports talk show with my good brothers, and the interaction that we got with the audience was like, man, this is what I want.
Did you really loved and enjoyed the connection? Because I would think that the connection is the part that you keep coming back to.
That's what drove me.
Yeah.
That's what drove me to go live.
Really enjoying that. Yeah.
Yes, because I want people to be able to ask their questions. I want people to be able to speak to the guests and actually get to know the guests in a way.
Yeah. And that's the beauty. If you don't mind me interjecting, that's the beauty. That's what I mean when I say designing our lives, right? You didn't just start a podcast, right? You leaned into what does it mean? How do I define it for me?
Yeah.
Right. And you kept iterating it until you found the reason you wanted to start it in the first place that you probably didn't even know was your reason for like fully, right? Like you knew part of that reason, but as you dove in, right, as you learned more, as you got more comfortable with the medium, then you were able to like lean in and say, actually, there's another level here. There's another level here. There's another level of intention that I can get to that's actually going to fulfill the thing that I actually propelled me to do this in the first place. And that's the difference between just living your life and designing your life, is that level of intention and continuing to it's not like we have to grow perpetually or always change things. It's that growth is a natural part of the journey. Just it's a journey. We're ever moving. Doesn't mean we have to move forward or ahead or any of that. It's not specifically direction specific. It's just we keep moving and discovering and staying curious.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like I said, this because I wanted people to, when I first started my podcast, it was strictly, I had started ranting and about work and all that, but I enjoyed the podcast. I just didn't enjoy the content I was putting out.
Yeah.
And so when I switched more to a conversation podcast and being able to have people on to share their stories, and I felt there was so much negativity at the time when I started. I started my podcast in 2020, and with all the nonsense that was going on, there was the George Floyd situation, all the nonsense with the presidential stuff, and I felt that I needed to put something out that was much more positive. I wanted to put out positive
Yeah.
content, and I wanted to sit down with people that were doing positive things.
Yeah.
And so I felt
I
like,
love that.
let me switch it up and do
Yeah.
something with it that's just different.
Well, that's what
And
helps us reframe, right? Is when we can lean into and learn from other people's lived experiences just by listening to other people's stories, right? And that's why I always come back to storytelling, because we are telling the story of our life every single day with every single action. We're creating the story of our life. We may not be putting words to a page, but essentially we are, because we are leaving our energy signature everywhere we go. Science tells us we are all made of energy. Everything is made of energy, and energy is not lost. It simply changes and
yeah,
moves on, right? So whatever energy we're bringing into the world with all of our actions and all of our thoughts and all of our emotions, it's being transferred to everything around us, everything, animate, inanimate, all of it. And when we
oh,
recognize that and we take possession and ownership of that, and we recognize like, hey, I I'm so important that everything around me is affected by me. And it's not an egocentric thing. It's a really powerful moment to say, holy cow, I've been abdicating my role and understanding how who I am affects everything, every living being, because everything is energy, right? When we can
it
sit
is.
with that and take ownership of that, it changes everything.
Oh, listen, I've been blessed to have some great conversations with people, but the best part of it is the energy flow. It's just the
Yes.
flow that you share. And
Yeah.
even though we're on StreamYard, you can still feel that energy. You can
Yeah.
still, because you can, by the time I'm done with a great interview, I'm wired.
Right. Right.
I have so much
Yeah.
energy because the conversation was so great. The
Yeah.
energy, there was no one sucking energy. It was just, the energy was
Yes.
just flowing.
Yes.
And so that's another reason I love doing it, is to be able to connect with people that have great energy.
Yeah.
And since I switched that way, I've attracted so many positive people into my life.
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah.
positive things that are happening in my life
Yeah.
because of the energy that I'm putting out.
Yeah. No, I agree. And when you reached out about me being on your podcast, I was like, let me check this, let me check this person out. And I always try to listen to part of a podcast or something, because very frequently I'm the one reaching out because I'm
Yeah.
so intentional about whose podcast I'm being on and how they're presenting and all those things. And so I try to really, even 5 minutes, especially because I'm neurodivergent, give me 3 to 5 minutes listening to a podcast, and I already know who someone is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope, yes, nope, yes, no, you know. um, but when you reached out, I really, I really love that. I love the energy and the intentionality that you bring to your podcast. And I really appreciate that that's what you're looking for. I mean, this is what life is all about. It's all about connection, right?
Yes, it
And I
is.
think we desperately want it and we desperately need it. But so much of our life around us is telling us what it has to look like. Right. And
Yeah,
and the way it should be and the way we're supposed to interact with one another. And it's not supposed
absolutely.
to be this and it has to be this and it can't be. And especially for guys, it's like, it can't be this. It can't. There's so much around it. And for women, we're only allowed to be passive aggressive. Um, there's all this shenanigans, all these rules. But we know when we're really, truly, honestly connecting, because you can
Yes,
feel that energy exchange. You can
definitely.
feel when you've tapped into someone who, like someone you together have created respectful space, right?
Absolutely.
Where
Yes.
where where there's no one who can guarantee our safety, right? Because we don't know, right? We
Yeah.
don't know till we step on someone's toes that we've stepped on their toes. But we
Yes.
do know that when we create respectful space, we can go and clean it up, right? And we can say, hey, I stepped on your foot there, and I own that I stepped on your foot, and I'm going to learn and I'm going to do better. Next time I'm not going to do that, right? And when we can own that, when we can own our missteps, we create so much safety and so much trust in our relationships and in ourselves, right? We learn to trust ourselves so much more, and we learn how brave and courageous we truly are when we can move through the fear, right? But our society has taught us to be afraid of fear. We're mostly afraid of fear itself. We're not even
Yeah.
afraid of, like, we don't even We don't even know what we're afraid of because we're afraid of everything. We're
Yeah.
supposed to be afraid of everything that is colors outside of the lines, except we were never supposed to be inside of the lines. Like we
And
were
that's what it
born to
is.
be in those
We
lines.
we we get comfortable. We get comfortable and we get complacent with
Yeah.
where we're at in life, and we let people dictate like, oh no, you can't do this, you can't do that,
Yeah.
you can't step out of the you can't step out of the box, you can't
Yeah.
color outside of the lines.
Right.
You have to follow. No, you do
Yeah.
what you want. Do what makes you happy. Don't do
Yeah.
what someone else wants you to do.
Yeah.
Do what makes you
Agreed.
happy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It feels like many times it feels like fear is the like sheepdog of systems of oppression,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just corralling us, right? And at first you think it's
Control.
gentle because
Yep.
it's just nipping at your heels and it's just altering your direction just so slightly. But that 1 inch in trajectory change at the beginning of your journey is miles at the end, right? And
Yeah.
so fear is nipping at our heels when we're children, so that by the time we're an adult, we have no idea how far off course we are.
But
We have no idea.
like when we're children, you don't like when. I wish sometimes I would go back to that because we're so carefree and fearless.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's when adults start telling us, "Oh, you can't do that. You're gonna get hurt. Or you're gonna do this. You can't do that." That's when we start
Yeah.
losing ourselves. That's where we start
Yeah.
losing our true, authentic selves
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
people are applying their beliefs upon you.
Yeah.
And it isn't. And by the time we become adults, we're already programmed
Yeah.
to where like, oh man, I can't do that because so
Yep.
and so said I can't do it.
It's a slowly built cage.
Yeah.
It's a slowly built cage to the point that we can't even see it anymore. We don't even know because we've never developed vision that isn't partially blocked by it, by that cage, right? We don't even know that it's there anymore because we've only ever lived inside of it, as
Honestly,
adult human
I,
beings.
honestly, now it took me 40 something years to really truly find myself, truly
Yeah.
find who I am,
Yeah.
and truly find and start. And I'm still growing. I'm still
Yeah.
evolving. I'm still
Yeah.
learning, and that's what you're supposed to do. And
Yeah.
the reason I started podcasting, like I had been wanting to do a podcast, but it was going to be a sports podcast with a friend,
Mm.
and
I'm
it
glad
didn't
it's
happen.
not because I would have
Oh.
absolutely nothing to say about that. Nothing.
Absolutely. But no, things happen for a reason.
Mhm. Yeah.
Spirit was like, no, that's not. It didn't work out, and I
Yeah.
ended up starting Stuck in My Mind podcast,
Yeah.
and this is where I'm supposed to be. This is my lane. This is
Yeah.
where my podcast is supposed to be, and I'm so thankful that I found it. I'm so
Yeah.
thankful that I found what I'm
Yeah.
passionate about because I
Yeah.
love this. I didn't know I had a voice.
Yeah.
I'm not in media. I come
Yeah.
from. I have I'm a table games dealer.
Oh,
And so,
interesting. I didn't know
yeah.
that.
So to go into this space and be able
Yeah.
to help people, especially people with especially now with everything that's going on with the mental
Yeah.
health issues and
Yeah.
the self and the self development and people
Yeah.
being afraid to be themselves
Yeah.
because they're afraid of what people might think
Yeah.
of them.
Well, the only place we've been taught that we're safe is inside our own heads. And even that's a scary place to navigate, right? Because we're required to keep it all locked up, right? It's not meant to be locked up inside our head. It's meant to be birthed into reality. It's meant to exist and coexist with us. It's meant to be brought forward, through our creativity and through our life experience and through our connection with others. We're meant to bring forth so much beauty into this world, but because of all the limitations, put on us by society, we do get stuck in our head, and then it becomes this crazy place that there's too much up there. There's too much that's unrealized. And, I agree with you. I think there's so much that forces us into, we've got to exist, we've got to survive. So then we can't, right? Can't
Yeah.
just comes up all the time. And, for me, by designing my own life, by getting specific and clear on what I wanted for my own life, it has been a bumpy road, right? Because capitalism doesn't love us.
No,
It does not love us
no,
forging
that's
our own
not.
path. It does not.
No,
It does
they
not
want us to
want
be
us.
consumers. No, they want us to be
Yes, they
consumers.
want us to be consumers, and they
Yes,
want us to be a specific type of consumer,
consumer.
and to do as we are told and to know our place. And I refuse.
And
And
me
by
and you both.
refusing, you suffer a lot of consequences, but at the same time you find a lot of beauty, because there's consequences either way, is what I've learned. The consequence was either I stayed stuck in my mind, and I stayed enslaved to other people's agendas and other people's rules, or I just said, can I say a bad word? Can I say on here?
Listen,
Okay, great. Can
listen.
I
If you
say,
don't
I was
curse,
like, I just
if you
want
don't,
to make sure before I forget to ask.
if you don't curse, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel
Or you
comfortable.
can just say, fuck it. You can just say, fuck it.
That's
Fuck
fine.
fear. Fuck all of it. I'm going to be exactly who I want to be. And because you're going to pay consequences either way. Either you live the torture of an unrealized
Yeah.
life, right? Or you live your life out loud, you design the life that you want, and you figure it out along the way, and you find community, because there's other people who are doing the same thing. And when we build community and we learn to support one another in that, we
It's
won't need
phenomenal.
this system
It's
anymore. The
phenomenal.
system will collapse within itself, because it's already collapsing. I mean, I'm just here to build community so that we all find connection with
Yeah.
ourselves and with one another, so we have a soft place to land when this all falls apart.
Listen, and I love the podcasting community. I've made
Yeah,
so many amazing friends, and a
I
lot
love
of people
that.
that are commenting on chats are podcasters. Like my man Dan, I've been on his show a couple of times. I'm trying to get him back on my show now that I'm live, and he's a great dude.
Yeah, I
Big
just
shout out
saw
to you,
saw a
Dan.
comment pop
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
and then my man Jukebox, he's a great guy. We linked up, and it's it's just like I said, you start attracting
Yeah.
the right people into your life. You start attracting
Yeah.
people that want you to succeed,
Mhm.
that want to help you succeed.
Yes, exactly.
She's a great example of that.
Yeah.
She's someone, I share her stuff, she shares my stuff.
Yeah.
I've had her on my show a couple of times. I've
Yeah.
been on her show,
Yeah.
and we support each other whenever.
Yeah.
And I try to share any of my friends when
Yeah.
they have something positive to put out there. I'm
Fantastic.
always sharing it.
Yeah. That's the
And
way
but
it is. Yeah.
yes, but you get people that don't.
Well,
You get,
because they're afraid that by promoting you, that they're detracting from their own light. But a candle, a fire, a flame never loses anything by lighting something else on fire, right? The fire just spreads.
right, yes.
And so when we recognize and we can lean into who we are, and we feel confident and secure in that, even when we feel insecure, right? I know who I am, even when I have a difficult day, even when I have a bad day, even when I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, it's not a good day today. Not a good day, right? I still know who I am at my core. I still have that I know that I'm connected to myself, and so at the end of the day, when I recognize like that I'm holding back from helping promote someone else, it's because I'm holding myself back in some way. There's
Yeah.
some aspect of my like, whenever jealousy pops up for me, I'm like, oh, is that person doing something I wish I had given myself permission to do? Okay, I'm going to go do more of that thing, or I'm going to explore that feeling for myself, right? If we learned to feel our feelings, if we were taught and allowed to feel our feelings, we would be able to live and get curious with our feelings, right? This is why I always come back to curiosity and intention. If we were allowed to remain curious, our lives would look entirely different. But curiosity is a threat to the systems of oppression that is America.
You are dropping gems. I'm telling you, you are dropping gems here today, man. And everybody's loving it. Everybody's loving
Good.
it. Sarah's like, that's why she's parenting with love instead of fear.
Yes. Love that. Yes.
My man Jukebox is like, he feels like the term they has become something to fear or follow. They
Right.
say do this, they say do that. Who is
Yeah.
they?
Who the hell
And
is
why
they?
does it matter? Yes.
Right. I don't give they any power over my life. They don't exist in my life. They're not paying my bills. So unless they're paying my bills, they don't get a say, and nobody's paying my
Fuck
bills
'em.
but me. And even if you pay my bills, I don't care. I'm still not doing what you say. Pay
And
my bills, and I'm going to do what I want anyway.
Sarah loves what you're saying, man. Sarah loves it. And Dr. Morney, who's actually a guest on my show. She's great also. So anybody check out that episode I have with Dr. Morney. It's
Yeah.
a great episode. But yeah, she loves your perspective on life,
Yeah. Thank you.
which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And when I was reading your profile on
Yeah.
Podmatch, I was like, this is someone I want on my show.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
you could
glad you
already,
did.
it's like there's some people I'll be looking at like, because they'll send me matches and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't feel
That's a
that
no for
energy.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel that energy. But then when I looked
Yeah.
at your profile, I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man, she just with your pictures and all the way and just
Yeah.
your energy. I'm like,
Yeah. I refuse to be like everyone else. I don't care.
oh,
I don't care.
and I love that. I love that. That's what
Yeah.
that's what life is about.
Yeah.
You refuse to
Yeah.
be like anyone else. You have to be yourself.
Mhm.
And that's why I think people gravitate to my show because I'm just being myself when I'm on
Be
here.
just yourself. Yeah.
I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm not trying to be someone I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to come here, have great conversations with some amazing
Yeah.
people, and hopefully I learn something from it.
Yeah.
My audience learns something from it,
Yeah.
and my guest has a great time and feels comfortable
Yeah.
and just wants to share what they have.
Yeah. It bleeds through, in the way that in the way that you just can just dive in and foster beautiful energy and conversation. It really shows through.
And that's what I love is being able to make my guests feel comfortable. I want them
Yeah.
to feel like, hey, you can let your hair down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like he's like, oh,
Yeah.
can I curse? Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I like to ask because some people like.
Oh no, some people.
Although I don't think I've been on a single podcast. Like if like they want to censor me, but like then I think, well, if people might listen to this with their kids, and I don't know their stance on that, but like.
I'm sure the kids probably have heard worse from their mouth.
Kids are allowed to curse around me. You can curse and you don't get in trouble. I'm that aunt. I'm like, you can say whatever words you want, whatever words, as long as you're not hurt. If you're not saying
hurtful
it to hurt
to
someone,
yes,
yeah. As long as you're not calling someone if you're not calling someone a name or you're not cursing somebody, if you can say a curse word, you stub your toe, you go ahead and scream all the words you want to scream. You go right ahead because that hurts, and I know it hurts. You go ahead and say what you need to say.
You might as well just let it out now instead of carrying it the whole day with you.
Right. Yeah.
Jukebox shows my 11-year-old slips words here and there. I don't mind.
Because you know what? They got to practice them somehow.
They're going to learn somewhere. They're going to learn somewhere.
They might as well learn in the safety of home. You know
yes,
what I mean?
Might
This
as well.
How you use this word. Yeah.
Yes. This is how you probably use this word, little Jimmy.
Right. And this is probably how you use it when I'm not around.
Yeah. And Sarah says, you are her soul sister.
I love it. I'm loving this interaction. I don't think I've ever, even though I think I've done several live, I've never had it where somebody allowed the comments to come through. And I really love that aspect. I think it's great. I see why you switched to it.
Yes. Yeah. This is why.
Yeah.
This is why I switched to it, because the interaction.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that people interact and say what they feel, and especially if they're enjoying the show. If they're having a great time, like how we're having a great time right now, just laughing and just talking, and being able to share their comments is why I did it. I'm doing it live.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. This to me is just, oh man.
So how long have you been doing the live? When did you switch over to that?
This is probably my 19th episode live.
Yeah. And it's just one, and you do one a week?
No, I do 3 a week. I do 3 a week.
Oh, 3 a week. Oh, wow.
3 a week.
Okay. So it's only been a few weeks. So that's
it's only been a few weeks.
Yeah.
I've been doing it. Yeah, I love it. And so, and like I said, it's because I've been doing a morning sports talk radio show with two of my good brothers. I love them. Shout out to Cole Johnson and Brian Snow. And that the interaction with that audience just made me like, yo, this is what I want for my show.
Yeah, good.
Like, because prior to that, it was pre-recorded, and it saves me when I don't have to edit now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But people have to be really comfortable with being live. That's the thing.
But I've been recording for 2 years. If I'm not comfortable now, then
no, I mean the guests, like guests.
Oh, the guests
ever like get weird about it being live? I imagine some people might.
Not recently. No.
Oh, good.
They actually embrace it. They enjoy the part where they get to see comments as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's
no,
good.
I've
Well, especially if there are other podcasters who are guests, so they're used to talking in
yeah,
that point. Yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah.
I've had a few podcasters recently, and but for the most part, I've love it that Podmatch. I love Podmatch
Oh,
because
I do too. I love
Alex
Podmatch.
Alex has
P.S. This week I'm going to brag about myself. I'm like ranked number 27 out of all 300,000 guests available on Podmatch. I'm ranked number 27 globally.
my goal is to reach the top 20 host.
Good for you. You should do it.
I'm at 74 right now, but
Hey, that's
oh yeah, it's amazing because there's a lot of
there's a
podcasters on there.
yes,
So to
there are.
be number 74, I'm in the top 2%. It's amazing. But my
Amazing.
goal is top 20.
Good for you. Do it.
No, there's no
Do
doubt
it.
about it.
Do it. I'm hoping I can get to like the top 10. That's what I'm aiming at.
Oh,
Top 10.
keep doing it. Keep going. You're gonna get there. And anybody who's on Podmatch,
Oh
book
yeah.
her,
Check out
book her,
Podmatch. If you want to be a
book her
guest or
now.
host your own podcast,
And
100% check out Podmatch.
the
It's
great thing
really
about
great.
it for content creators, yes, if you pay a fee. There's a free version. I don't even think they have the free version anymore.
I'm grandfathered in. I have the free version still. And people are like,
Yes.
you don't have to pay. I'm like, no, I don't.
No. So now there's no longer a free version.
It's like
But
$20 a month.
but no, not for content creators. For content creators is a
Oh,
little bit less.
yeah. Okay.
It's a cup of Starbucks coffee,
Right.
right?
Good.
So if
Good.
you drink coffee, if you spend $5-6 on coffee,
Yeah.
save one and join Podmatch
Podmatch.
because
Yeah.
now you get paid commission when you interview certain guests. And
Ooh,
so Alex has provided a system for people. There's
awesome.
content there's independent podcasters out there that don't generate any money because they don't get sponsors or they're still growing.
Yeah.
This allows someone who's new or starting out an opportunity to earn some money.
Yeah.
Like
I
I've
love
been
that.
I've been part of the paid service for the last 3 months. I could have been grandfathered in, but I decided to go with the paid service,
Yeah.
and I've already made that money back.
Yeah. No, I just want to continue sharing what life design is and
Yeah.
sharing this message with people. So for me, yeah, I have many people who've used my affiliate link on Podmatch, but I don't pay for it, so I don't get any commission from it. And I kind of love that relationship with it because then I can readily just be like, no, you should join Podmatch. And I get nothing out of it. Like
I
I'm
don't.
like I
Yeah,
get but as a podcaster, I feel like you're investing so much of your time. Like it's like a part-time job. You
and that's
should
why I
get
love it, and
paid
I
for
love
it.
that
Yeah.
fact. I love that fact that they're willing to
Yeah.
share
Yeah.
some of their profit with content creators.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
willing to
100%.
share. No other platform that I know does that.
No. And I've been on other platforms and they're a little bit weird. I really like how clear and easy
Easy,
Podmatch is, and
yes.
it doesn't give you 1,000 matches all the time. It's not like the terrible dating app where you're like swiping left all day. You get like I get as a guest, I get 4 matches every 8 hours. So I'm able to check it 3 times a day.
As
Um,
a host, I get 3 every 5 hours.
Oh,
So
brilliant. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So like it's really and you get more matches if you pay. It's just like it's incredible. And I've met so many incredible people. Like I've made friends with so many of the hosts that I've been on their shows. We keep in touch. It's just such an incredible way.
Oh,
I
believe me, this will not be your last time on my show.
I love that. I would love to be again.
This will not be your last time on my show. No, believe me, you will be a
Yeah.
multiple time
Oh,
guest
good.
on my
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love that. Yeah.
Look, I enjoy having people that, especially people like yourself, where you have great energy, you have a great personality, you just love life.
Yeah.
And that's
Thank
what
you.
I want my audience to feel is that energy. I want them to be
Yeah.
able to feel that love and feel that, hey, listen, I know there's shit going on in life,
There is lots of it. A lot of it.
but
But
you can still overcome that. You can pick
yeah.
yourself up and do
Yeah.
some great
Yeah.
things.
It's not even about necessarily overcoming it. What if we don't have to overcome it? What if we're just
It's a
meant to
lesson.
feel it and
Yeah, it's
move
a
through
lesson.
it?
That's why
Yeah.
the people are like, oh, I
Just
made this mistake. No, it's not a mistake. It's a life lesson.
it's part of life. It's just part of
Yes.
life. We're meant to just learn. This is a journey, not a destination, right? It's
Yep.
absolutely a journey. it's not meant to be, okay, we get to a certain place in life and we stop making mistakes. Because if you stop making mistakes, that means you're not learning anything. That means you're stuck in your ways. And that probably means you're being harmful to yourself and or other people around you. Because
Absolutely.
if everybody around you is growing and learning and figuring out how to do life together and build community, and you're staying stagnant,
There's something wrong.
there's something wrong. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay to get stuck sometimes. And it's okay to ask for help. And that's why we need each other. That's why we need community, so that we can grab hands with one another and say, hey, babe, I know you're a little bit stuck right now. Come with me. Right.
Yeah.
Let me hold your hand through this moment. Right.
And I
That's
agree with
what
you
we're meant to do
100%.
this life.
I agree with you 100% because, especially for men, we're supposed to
Yeah,
not be able
especially.
to show. We're not supposed to show emotions. We're
Yeah.
supposed to be
Yeah.
the
You're supposed to
the
lead, not follow. You're not supposed to ask for help or directions. God help you. I don't know how you make it through this life. I have no idea. None.
But then again, it's boxes like I love going live because it keeps it real.
Yeah.
And then Dan is like he loves going live for the comments because they
Yeah.
make the show. They make the show
Yeah.
like yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And yes, jukebox being able to talk to people is an amazing investment because
Yeah.
and these conversations. Listen, it's something that you're never going to be able to get back. It's time. So
Yeah.
to
So you might as well spend it well.
yeah, spend it having some great conversation.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I would rather do that. I would rather be in communication and talk to someone than do just about anything. Well, except sometimes I really just like to be by myself because I am autistic. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm done talking to you. I need to go away. Bye. but if I'm doing something other than just being by myself, I absolutely adore just being in communication with someone, just a small group of people, because otherwise it starts to get too much for me over a long period of time. I do a lot of networking. So like after an hour, I'm like, and goodbye. But because I own my own company, I have to network. I've networked for like 12 years.
yeah.
And sometimes I'm in rooms with like 250 people.
Yeah, like I said, so I was telling you
It's
before,
so much.
I had just came from a networking party. It
Yeah.
was probably 150 people in that group, and it was great content. It was great
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
but it can become overwhelming.
Yeah. But I love to find that one person or that one or
I've,
two people in a
yes.
room and just be able to like have a beautiful conversation with them. To me, that's winning. That's
So
how I've gotten to a great networking event, is when I come away and I'm like, I love that person. We are
Yeah.
definitely going to be friends. Can we
So
be
we broke
friends?
out. So they would break out into small groups, and in one of the groups, I
Yeah.
got to meet two amazing people that I'm gonna actually have on my show.
Good.
And
Yeah.
so it's those things, it's those events, and that's one thing I'm very big on, especially for podcasters. You need to network.
Oh, I don't care who you are. You need to network.
Yeah.
That's how we build community.
Yes.
Yeah.
And podcasters, you need to network and really grow your community. You need to and go on other people's podcasts.
Yeah.
Don't just do your podcast because you want to reach other audiences. So go be a guest on someone else's podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it can be hard. Sometimes networking can be hard for neurodivergent people. So for me, what I've done is I usually have people that I know are going to be at the event. Usually there's one or two people that I know, and they become like my emotional anchor. So that if I feel overwhelmed in the situation, that I can go over to them and I can just start talking to them, or I just feel safe knowing that they're like there. Like, it's not about my physical safety as much as it is like my emotional safety, because if I get overwhelmed or I feel dysfunctional in a moment, I just need to know there's somebody there that I know. And so that's usually how I do. When I first started out networking, I always went with somebody. I always met somebody there and stayed in contact with them and didn't like go in until they arrived. Right. So we'd be able to like go in together. Yeah. Now I've been doing it long enough that I feel a little bit more safety walking in by myself, but you know, it can be overwhelming, but you know, you can find your people. You can find a lot of amazing people networking.
I've found my people. People. My audience is not a big 1,000 follow. No, I have a small audience, but they're amazing.
Yeah,
they're loyal.
I can see that. I like their comments.
They're loyal. Like I'm glad I was able to make Sarah's day. Like this conversation.
I am too. I've just read her comment and I'm like, oh, thanks, Sarah.
This again. This is why it's to be able to reach people like that. Like we don't know what she was going through today, and for her to be able to listen to us and and we be her best part of the day. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow,
Good.
that's great. I love
I
that.
love
I
that. Yeah,
appreciate
I
that.
love that. I love that. Yeah.
But good. But this is why, man. This is why I love my podcasts, and
Yeah.
I love the connections I've made.
Yeah.
Oh, my condolences, Sarah. My apologies. See, so yeah, this. So I'm
Oh
really,
no.
I'm even
Yeah.
more. This touches me even more to be able
Oh.
to brighten up your day.
Yeah.
That means even more now to me, to
Yeah.
be able to brighten up your day and help you
Yeah.
through this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but again, this is why
Yeah.
you uh, why I go live is because
Yeah.
you get to interact. You don't know what people go through, and if I can help anyone
Yeah.
through the day
Yeah. Life is
and
messy.
improve it. Yes,
It's
life
better.
is very
Life is
messy.
messy and it's better together, because when we can admit that it's messy and we can know that we're safe to reach out and we have a community that we can reach out to help for, like to get help from, those like cup of sugar people, you know what I mean? You can call them and be like, "Oh, I'm out. Can I like come over?" Like I so desperately want us to get back to the place where we are safe to do that, right? Where we can go to our neighbor and say, "I need a cup of sugar,"
And
right?
that's what's wrong now. Like that's why I
Yeah.
feel we've been like
We're so
growing
afraid
up.
of one
Yeah,
another.
growing up, I knew everybody in my neighborhood. Everybody knew me.
Yep.
I just probably where I live at now. I
Yeah.
probably know the neighbor next door to me, and I've
Yeah.
probably spoken to the one across from me once or twice.
Mm.
And it's not the same. Like people who
Yeah.
have distanced themselves, and that's what this is what
Well, yeah.
society wants, is for
Yeah.
us to be separated. They
I
don't
say
want us united.
capitalism started the lie of the nuclear family and created this idea of insular, you know, two parents and the kids, no,
No,
non-generational. Because back in the day, people used to live in generational houses. There's
yes,
massive houses with lots of bedrooms, lots of bathrooms, lots of communal space. People lived there generationally. The idea of the nuclear family was a concept because capitalism required all these people to have individual homes, to buy all of these things, to grow all these, I mean, it
yeah,
just perpetuates itself and then also creates this idea of this insular family where, and also the foundation of capitalism is competition. And so
yeah.
it is this hierarchical understanding of the world. So we can't be connected to each other horizontally. We have to clamor over each other vertically, right?
Yeah, and that's one thing. That's the thing. Some people already be like, "Oh yeah, you're competing with this." I'm not competing with anyone. I'm
I'm
competing
only
with
competing
myself.
with who I was 10 seconds
Yeah,
ago.
I'm competing
That's
with me.
it.
I'm not competing with. I like. I
My
love
first
jukebox.
attorney said that to me. He's like, "Well, who's your competition as an interior designer?" I was like,
Me.
"Me."
Yeah.
And he was like, "That's awful cocky. Is it? Is it
Why? Why
cocky
is it
or is it
cocky?
just true?
Why
Is
is
it
it
just
cocky?
true?" Well, it's
Yeah,
cocky
like
because I don't have that particular body part. But or is it just true,
no,
right?
no. But I mean, why is it cocky?
You like
Because
what I did there.
I did like what you did. No, but why is it cocky? Because you don't. I don't
True.
feel like Jukebox has a great podcast,
Mm.
and he's different. They're completely different.
We're all
And
different. We're all
yeah,
different.
Dan
Yes.
has a different
Every
podcast.
person on the
Sarah,
planet could have a podcast and they would all be vastly different because
yeah,
all of our lived experiences are
differently.
completely different from one
Yes,
another. And yet they're the same, right? Like there's themes that run through all of our lives that tie us together, right? We all experience fear and pain and misunderstanding and not being seen or heard or understood. Those things bind us together. The way we experience them, they're different, right? Because we belong to different groups of people who may be oppressed at different levels or are oppressed at different levels in this country.
yeah,
So our lived experiences are different, but the things we feel are the same.
and
If
that's
we
one.
can
Yeah,
connect on that, connect through empathy, that changes
and
everything.
that's something I've realized is, yeah, a lot of me and my guests are completely different. We have different
Yes.
things, but at the core of it all, we all want the same thing.
Right.
At the core
Yeah.
of it all, we want to be happy. We want to be,
To be seen, to be
yeah,
known, to be understood.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And but they want us to believe that, oh, we're completely different. No,
No,
we
we're
all
not.
we at the core of it all, we're all the same. We want all the
Yeah.
same things.
Our lived experiences are different, and we need to
Yes,
listen to and believe each other's lived experiences. Listen to and believe. That is the core of it. We must listen to. We must get curious enough to ask, to
Yep.
listen to, and to believe each other's lived experiences, and then to understand that, human beings are the only beings on this planet that pay to live here. And that perhaps we could, because we were brought here without our permission, we could understand that
But were we
creating
really?
a space where we all have
But
basic human rights met.
were we really brought here without permission, or
I
did
mean,
we?
my mom didn't ask me
I
before
know,
she brought me into this world. She just
but
brought me, and then I was
but
here.
your energy might have been pushing towards you coming.
100%. Yeah, my energy, 100%. I'm certain that my embryo or whatever, my egg whatever formed me, she fought tooth and
to
nail
get here.
to get her way to get here. 100%. I'm sure of that. But like technically,
Yes,
I
technically, we
wasn't,
would
I
say
didn't,
you didn't choose. Yes,
right.
but
I didn't choose. I was brought, we're all brought here. We're all here. Right. And if we
we're
could
here
work
for a reason.
together to make
Yes.
everybody to be able to be afforded the same human rights.
Hmm. Yeah.
You start looking at countries who are doing that. You look at Finland, you look at Sweden, you look at Chile just rewrote their constitution. You see these countries seeing what's going on here in America and being like, we don't want any part of that. And we're going to make our citizens' lives better, and have been making their citizens' lives better for quite some time now. And they're doing such beautiful things. And you see Finland eliminated homelessness, right? You see all these beautiful things happening when we start meeting each other's needs. We can really find connection, right? But because we're all competing for such limited resources, that's where they get us, right? We're competing for limited resources. Meanwhile, the people at the
Scraps.
top,
Yeah.
the
We're
people at
scared.
the top are hoarding resources and wealth from
Yes.
all of the rest of us.
Hmm.
That doesn't
And
make
and
any
and
flipping
and,
sense. And we're fighting
and we're
with each
fighting
other.
each other. We're fighting with each other.
And I'm
We're-
not
that's
saying we need to fight them. I'm just saying we need to change the game.
Yes,
Change the flipping
absolutely.
game.
We need to
We
change
have
the
to stop
game.
playing their game. And the way we
Definitely
stop playing their game is we connect with each other, we build community.
build, and
Period. We get
that's what's missing,
curious, build
and
community.
that's what's changed. When I
Yeah.
grew up, if I did something down the block,
Oh, you were
by
getting
the
beat.
time I got home, my mother already knew.
100%. 100%.
Like by the time
I
I
grew
got
up in a
home,
low. I grew up in a working class neighborhood, so all of our neighbors all knew each other. All the kids were running around together. Everybody knew, and my parents knew. Oh, they knew. The neighbor
they're
was
like,
calling. Miss Connie was calling. Mr. Flowers was calling. 100%.
so,
100%.
and that's what's changed.
Yeah,
Is that we no longer have community, and it's crazy because it does take a village to raise a child.
it does.
It takes a village.
It takes a village for every person. It takes a
Yes.
village for me. I need a
Yes.
village. Can I get a village?
Oh,
Like,
can we get a few villages going on?
yeah, we need villages, right? We need to get back to that understanding and that mentality, and that the way that we exist is, it can get back to a village. We can understand that we can pool our resources. We can work together. We can build that beautiful community together. But it starts with understanding our own selves, right? It just goes back to, I forget the philosopher's name, but to know thyself. The greatest threat to the systems of oppression that govern our world is us knowing ourselves. That is the greatest threat. And so it is my life work. I'm dedicating my life to empowering people to design their lives, to know themselves, to get clear on who they want to be, and recognize that they get to choose. No one has the right to choose for you, even though they will try, and they will put their boot on your throat over and over again. But at the end of the day,
I just want to let you know, right? I had an idea recently about going into, especially with the videos that I've since I've gone to video, I was going to go to a bunch of my episodes and pick out some of the best nuggets from there and put it into one compilation. You're going to have quite a few of them on there, just so you know.
Yeah.
Just so you know, you're going to have quite a few of them on there because you've been dropping gems, and that's what I love.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
This has been great. Oh man,
It has been great.
Listen, time flies when you
really does.
When you're having a great conversation and the energy is amazing. You don't even think about the time. It's like, oh
no,
wow, we've almost been on an hour. Hey, that's good.
I'm hosting book club right after this, actually. So I have actually paid attention to the time. We're actually we're reading Hood Feminism. So we're discussing that right after this. But if anybody hasn't read it, I highly recommend it. Mickey Kendall's book. But I am paying attention, but I didn't realize 55 minutes had gone by. I was like, whoa.
But thank you so much for being on the show. This has been great. I've had a great time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now plug away. Let them know where they can find you. Even though I did put your website in the chat. So
my website is the best way to find me. That is my real telephone number on my website. That's my real email address, and I'm the one checking it. If you call me and you're a weirdo, you get blocked. But everyone else, I will answer my own phone. You will be talking to me.
So Sarah, it's in the chat, Sarah.
Yeah,
so if you want to reach out to her.
Yeah, you can find my telephone number, my email. There's information on there about me as a public speaker. Also, you can find me on Badassery. I was just recently invited, to showcase myself as a public speaker on Badassery. It is a speaker bureau dedicated to diversity and inclusion in the public speaking realm, because it's 60% male. And predominantly white male. So really making sure that we're, bringing different types of voices into the public speaker realm.
So it's called Badassery?
Badassery, yeah.
The
logo is a peach.
Because I honestly I do want to get into the public speaking realm.
Yeah,
personally.
Yeah, absolutely. So their application, like round of applications just closed, but you can absolutely go on their website and then you can ask them to let you know next time it opens up, and then they'll email you and reach out to you next August. It opens up. Okay, awesome. But yeah, so there's information about me as a speaker on my website. My contact information is on there. Information about my life design workshops is on there. Yeah, absolutely. Just check me out there. That's where everything is.
So again, thank you. Don't hold on a minute. Don't leave just yet.
I won't leave.
But thank you so much for being a guest.
They'll understand.
Thank you so much. But shout out to my man Sick, who just came by. He's one of the guys that he's part of the group on the show that I do on Thursdays and Fridays. Mm-hmm. And he's one of the reasons why I go live, because he's very interactive. He's actually from Norway. He lives in Norway. And he's a great dude. He's got some sick knowledge. He just knows a lot of things.
Well, that's why his name is Sick.
Yeah, he knows a lot of things. He's amazing. And then my buddy Obaimi, he's been following me since day one. Mm. And so, like I said, I have loyal followers. I have people who watch my show frequently, and I appreciate that. I appreciate all of them spending time with me, because again, that's something they're never going to get back.
Yeah.
And so to be able to be able to share something positive and give something of value to them is why I do it. But thank you. But don't leave yet. I got to give my shout outs and say your byes to everybody. Say goodbye to everyone.
Bye, everyone.
All right. So now it is time for shout outs. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Sarah, Sig, Obaimi, Jukebox, Dan for stopping by, and for stopping by. Dr. Morney, thank you. Appreciate the love and the support. You guys are amazing. Big shout out to my Real Wise fam, Poppy J, Brandy J. Love you guys. Big shout out to the boss lady, Fina. Appreciate you, baby, and I love you for all the support you give me. Big shout out to our guest, Shana Francesca, for coming through and dropping some gems, because she dropped some gems today. And as always, a big, big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. You know how your boy Wise does it. Peace out.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Listen on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, and TuneIn. Find us on social media on Twitter at @wise_b_blunt, Instagram at @wise_b_blunt, and a Facebook fan page, www.facebook.com/wise76. Check back soon for new episodes. Until next time, peace out.